Hey everybody, Nate here from WASD20. Today we are going to be taking a look at how you can get a Magic the Gathering setting into your D&D game, and it's pretty awesome. Even as someone who does not play Magic the Gathering and has never been really into it, I can say this is a free resource that you really need to check out. So here it is. This is Magic the Gathering Planeshift Zendikar, compatible with Dungeons & Dragons tabletop role-playing game. So this is a setting book that does contain some really cool things if you wanted to use this setting for Magic the Gathering in your Dungeons & Dragons game. Personally, you know, I've never been into Magic. I've always thought about it, and I used to have some Magic cards that I got when I was like in middle school, but I never really learned to play. Anyway, I have respect for Magic. Someday maybe I'll learn to play, but until then, this book, I will say, is definitely awesome. So let's go ahead and take a look here. This is a free PDF that is available from Wizards of the Coast, which I think is great. You can check out the link down in the description below. And yeah, let's go through here and kind of summarize and take a look at what this book offers that would be of interest to really any gamer out there. So there's the introduction here, the setting. So Zendikar, the best of my understanding, just from reading a little bit here, is that Zendikar is a world where it's dangerous. It is seems to fit a little bit better with D&D than some of the other Magic settings probably would. It's got, you know, elves and druids and a lot of the things, goblins, a lot of the trappings of D&D. But there's definitely a different twist to them. So that's what this book sets out to do. It sets out to kind of say, how could you adapt this setting for play in Dungeons & Dragons? And veering a little bit away from the core rules for 5th edition in terms of, or at least the core lore and descriptions of races and things like that. You know, goblins and elves and all these things, they're going to be a little bit different in Zendikar than they will be explained in, for example, the Player's Handbook or the Monster Manual. So that's what this book sets out to do, kind of sets up some of those differences for us. The world, it says, is a dangerous world full of lethal risks and priceless rewards. So basically there's these planeswalkers who are powerful mages with the ability to travel. And then there is the Eldrazi. The Eldrazi, I hope I'm saying that right, are these very powerful alien beings that were trapped in Zendikar, in this plane, as opposed to others, by the planeswalkers, I think. And they were trapped there so that they could not seep out and destroy other planes, potentially, other worlds. And but that has made Zendikar itself very dangerous, and now the Eldrazi are free and on the loose, and the world has become even more dangerous. So there's some little bits about the ruins of Zendikar here, and also so we have the ruins, pre-Eldrazi ruins, and then we also have the ruins of the Eldrazi era. So ruins of both, because, you know, exploring ruins is going to be something that I think, you know, is something that you would do a lot if you were running a campaign or a game, excuse me, in this setting. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of Numenera, of the Ninth World, in the feel of it, in terms of that exploration and looking for artifacts and things like that from ancient times. And in terms of, yeah, just the tone of it's very reminiscent of Numenera. It's not as science fantasy as Numenera is. It feels more fantasy. But yeah, anyway, it's got a really cool feel. The art in this book is really great. If nothing else, go download this PDF just to look at some of the art, because it's just really inspirational. So here we go, races of Zendikar. We've got humans, very common race in Zendikar. They've got some houses, human traits. So this is, I think, the section that would be in the PHB. But then you've also got, you know, just a little bit of differences, I think. So let's see. Yeah, I think this section might be exactly the same, actually, as the PHB. The core are a new race. They're slender and silent. They're really skilled with ropes and hooks, and climbing is a major mechanic. So here you have core climbing. I think they're a little bit taller than humans. The males have these awesome, like, white, I don't know, tentacle type things. So there's how you would play a core. Then you have merfolk. And, yeah, these are not, you know, they do have feet and legs. These are not like mermaids. in the sense of, you know, like Disney. These are not Disney mermaids. But yeah, merfolk traits here. You've got a couple different creeds for the merfolk. And then you got vampires. Yes, vampires are a playable race in Zendikar. And they are not undead, it says. Rather, their unique nature comes from an eldritch disease that turns their flesh cold, makes their gray or purple skin feel dead to the touch, and enables them to drain concentrated magical energy from the blood of other living creatures. So yeah, they're tall and slender, etc., etc. Really cool. Yeah, they sound awesome. Then you've got goblins. Goblins are a playable race as well. Long arms and stony skin. So again, a little different here than goblins would be in the core 5th edition description. Oops, skipped one there. All right, so we got some tribes. Then we got elves here. And elves, I didn't actually read too much about elves. I think this is kind of where I stopped. But yeah, it looks like pretty similar to elves in D&D, in like Forgotten Realms, for example. And yeah, when I'm saying like traditional core D&D, we're talking about mainly Forgotten Realms here, because that's kind of the main pathway through Dungeons and Dragons in 5th edition, and the perspective from which it's all written so far has been Forgotten Realms. All right, so then we've got some different nations of elves, and then you've got the bestiary or bestiary. I don't know how to say that. I always say bestiary, but I've heard people say bestiary too. Yeah, so some of this, you got angels, archons, griffins. Some of this is going to be basically saying, here's a little different description of what these monsters are like. Now refer to the players, or to the monster manual for the stats. All right, so there are some stat blocks in here, but not very many. Most of the time they're just given a little twist. Like here's a new one. This is a pretty awesome beast that is not in the monster manual or in Volo's Guide or anything else. So this is a whole new stat block here. But for a lot of them, they're just going to have a description. Sphinxes, drakes. And then they're going to say, for example, either sphinx in the monster manual can represent the various sphinxes of Zendikar. So go look in the monster manual. Either of the sphinxes they have there would be fine. It's kind of what they're saying. So, yeah. Here's a kraken. Again, stat block for this one. But for a lot of them, and wow, awesome picture. But for a lot of them, you're just going to see, you know, the plesiosaurus in the monster manual can represent these serpents. So they're saying, what in the monster manual would you want to refer to? What stat block would you want to use? So you got same thing with demons, venomous vermin, the restless undead, dragons, awesome dragon there. So yeah, they'll look different. There'll be a little different twist. The history of these creatures might be a little bit different, how they were formed and all this, but you're going to be referring in this monster manual mainly to some of the stat blocks they have there. So yeah, really cool stuff. Trolls, beasts, basilisks, elementals, artificial creatures. So these are like constructs and things like that. And then you've got the Eldrazi. So these are the race of interplanetary beings that were trapped here in Zendikar, from my understanding, and are now causing lots of problems. They and their minions. And so some of them are extremely powerful, like Titan-like creatures, but some of them are kind of lesser creatures as well. So you've got, you know, some recommendations here. Just all kinds of beasts could be representative of the Eldrazi at low levels here. And then once you get to the upper levels, you're looking at some of the huge creatures like the Empyrean, there we go, the Kraken and the Tarask, for example, for some of the huge ones, right? So, yeah. So, once again, this is totally free on Wizards of the Coast website. You can go download it. I'll put a link in the description down below. And yeah, I'm really impressed. I'm so glad they're doing lots of this free stuff. And I'll just give one more plug for a couple other things they've been doing. Wizards of the Coast has been really keeping at the Unearthed Arcana, which is basically, hey, here's some extra things, some optional rules, some little twists and other things you can do, maybe a new class or a new feat or things like that, that they're releasing bit by bit and making it totally free. They're not saying this is adopted officially for organized play or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, here's some new stuff you can try out. Maybe that's stuff that will become official content at some point. But just this last week, they released one on mass combat, so rules for mass combat, which is really cool. They've got tons of them. So I'm going to put a link to those down in the description as well. Check that out as well. I'm really pleased with Wizards of the Coast just kind of saying, hey, here's some free stuff, some extra stuff for your game. I think it really speaks well that they're wanting to support 5th edition and kind of keep content coming, and they're giving some of it away for free. So, win. Thanks, Wizards of the Coast. If you have any questions, let me know down below. If you've read this book, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too, or have you played a little bit already? I'd love to hear what you think. All right, everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon.